Hi, this is Doug from Doug's Dog Training. So let's talk about play. Play is if we have a dog that has basic instincts to want to play with a toy. Uh, Actually, Ivan Balbanov came up with this. He's actually copyrighted. Training without conflict, meaning if we can teach a dog to follow the rules, to play within those rules, it's a great way of training. So let's back up to reinforces. Remember the 3 T's of reinforcement. And what that means is if we give one of those after a behavior, the likelihood of that behavior will continue. So that's why they call it a reinforcer. So one of the 3 T's is a treat / food. The second is toy. So I'm starting like with the basic, the lowest level of a toy. It's very soft. The filling's been pulled out from other dogs, and it's soft to the touch, to his mouth. So the likelihood of him wanting to play with it is high. And then we can transfer over to different toys that I highly recommend, which would be a 2-handle tug. And then once we teach him the rules of the game and we have him understanding those rules, then we can even switch over to a ball where he's learned on a tug, which is easier to bite, the area that he can bite, as well as teaching him that once he wins, because we have to let the dog win a lot, especially to keep him motivated if he doesn't have a lot of drive for a toy. And drive just means that desire to want. So a lot of dogs in the working lines, such as especially Malinois, Dutch Shepherds, German Shepherds, a lot of them are bred with toy drive, that desire to want it. So if you see videos of them playing and the handler or the trainer's working with it and they want it and they pull it and they're so into it, that's because it's genetic. With Gary, he really doesn't have that genetic, so we have to teach him. So what are the rules? And I have a video that I'll send you a link to, or you can just search it, how to teach a dog to play tug. The first rule that I like you got to work on is building that desire, that drive to want something. So there's an easy way. I usually normally, if the dog doesn't have that desire, I'll attach my leash to it so that there's like a 6-foot distance, so he doesn't feel like, hey, he's right next to me. And I just want him to concentrate. So rule 1 is concentrate and want the toy. So how do we do it? We take 2-minute sessions. I highly suggest use your phone, set to 2 minutes, and then stop playing. And this could take 2, 3, 4 weeks. And again, remember, it's just 2-minute sessions. So if you can do 2-minute sessions a day, the more you do it, the quicker he'll want that. So we call that prey drive. Prey drive is the chase. So when we play, to start that, we're always making movement away from the dog to use his genetic predisposition to want to chase. So with his poodle, because he's a mini bernadoodle, I'm sorry, but I have to blow my nose. So with that said, we just want to make sure the movement is always away from him to get him to want to chase. So rule number 1, we'll call it a rule or whatever. Rule 1 is just to take time, and it could be 2, 3, 4 weeks. It all depends on the dog, is to want this toy and to get to the point where he's biting it and then he's making some pulling. So again, if we push into the dog, that's not going with his prey drive. We're actually probably more than likely, especially with Gary, he'll probably not want to play because you're pushing at him. So we always make movement away. Come on. Away. And again, I usually start with a leash. So a leash is attached to him, 1, because when we let him win, we don't want him taken off with the toy, because then you're messing up not only his drive to want it, but then you're calling him back. And normally most dogs that don't have that genetic predisposition to really want it are going to take off with it. So we have a leash attached to the toy so that we can make movement away from him and he doesn't feel pressured by me right next to him. The second leash is on a flat collar, not on a choke collar, not on a prong collar. We don't want any pressure, not on the e-collar, because the e-collar should never have a leash attached to it. It's not meant for that. But the leash to him is just to keep him from checking out. Again, if he's not paying attention to me, I use my voice So a kissing noise, a clicking noise, call his name to get him to look back at me, and then the movement is always away from Gary, Gary. So I want him, you know, some dogs will right away go after the leash. So I just keep playing with him. And again, it's only a 2-minute session. So I just want him to want it. And every time you do it, if you do it right, you're gonna build up his drive to want it. So right now he's like following it, but he doesn't know what to do. So again, I have it set 2 minutes. Come on, Gary, come on. 2 minutes, and I just want to work so that he wants this toy. So if I have him stuck, my wife just came out of the house, so now he's paying attention to her, so he's not paying attention to me. So again, I'm not correcting him. I'm going to remove that leash so I have more opportunity to play with him. So I just want to make movement away from him. Come on, Gary. Get it. So he doesn't really, oh, good. And if he bites it, I'm going to praise it. Yeah, good boy. Good boy, yeah. Good boy. Oh, good boy. So again, I'm just making movement away from him. All right, good boy. Get it. I might even toss it a little bit. See if he'll get it. Get. Good. Oh, no. Yeah. Come on. So rule 1, and it could, again, you can tell that he's not really so much into it, but if you stay and you don't quit on him, and again, 2-minute sessions, not more than that. When 2 minutes is up, you stop the game. You just say, all done, and put the toy away. This toy that you start with should never be left out. It only comes out when you play with him, and it goes away when you're all done. So 2 minutes is up. He's really not into it. It's not a big deal. I'm not worried about it. I just want him to want it. And then it might be week 2, it might be session 10, it might be whatever. When he finally grabs it and he puts some back pressure, meaning he starts to pull on it, I'm going to praise him. I might use my marker, and then I'm going to release the toy from my hand, and then my leash keeps him from taking off. All right, good boy. Yeah. Good boy. Come on. Yeah, good boy. Yeah, good boy, Gary. Good boy, Gary. Oh, good boy. So he bites it. Now I just teach him that he can't take off. So I slowly bring him around. I want him to like hold it and yeah, good boy. Okay. So if he drops it, I don't let him pick it back up. I keep him away with the leash. I pick it up. I start the game again. Good boy. Yeah. Again, he's listening to my wife. So he's not paying attention to me. So I just get him to get back to me. Come on, Gary. Come on, Gary. Yeah, get it. Good boy, man. Good boy. So you can see with Gary, 1, he's not in his comfort zone. He's not home. He's at my house. That pretty much puts him in some anxiety and some stress. And I'll play with him. I'll tap him. I'll just get it. And again, 2 minutes is up. We'll just say 2 minutes up. All done. And I put it away. So again, we're working on as many sessions as you need. 2 minutes, that's it. Starting your house. No distractions, no other animals, no other people. And just play. And then when I have him wanting that toy and pulling, I want to praise him and then let him win. Meaning I just release the tug, and then this leash keeps him from taking off. And all I do is when he's carrying it, I'm praying, yeah, good boy. And I'm just spinning him around me. So he's carrying it, and I slowly bring him back in. When he's close, I'll reach for the tug, I'll pull again. Now I don't go to step 2 the minute he does that. I continue for a few days just playing that. So that's the rule 1. Is 1, the teaching him the desire for the toy, biting the toy, and carrying it, and then slowly bringing it back to me and starting again. So I want to try to end all the time on success. So if I've worked 1.5 minutes or close to 2 minutes and he finally gets it, then I'm just going to let him win that time, bring him back, and then at some point, Gary's going to drop it, end the game, all done, pick it up, and again, just put it away. The toy is a special object that comes out when you play with them, and it goes away when you're all done. It's not left out in the house, especially when we transfer over to tug, if you decide to go that way with your dog. Then rule 2 is once he's got it, he's crazy for that toy, because that's what we're trying to do. We want to build up that crazy desire for that toy, where he knows he bites it, he's pulling with you, he's playing back and forth. You let him go the minute he tugs, bring him around, you start the game again, and then ultimately, the goal is, like I said, once you have that, continue for a few days just doing that. You're not doing anything. You're not asking them to come to you to any obedience. You're just having fun with your dog. 2 minutes. Anybody can do that unless you have a disability or you have an injury. So once we have that, then The second part is to continue that play. I start it, want to play, bring out the tug, play, let him win, bring it back, start again, play. And again, might be 5-10 seconds in between playing, tug a little bit. And again, when you're tugging, if he's facing me, I want to make little movements so that he feels the toy trying to get out of its mouth. Think about genetics in an animal. They are a predator. So if you think about how a wolf or a coyote chases down a rabbit, the minute they got the rabbit squeaking, making all kinds of noises, trying to get away, shaking. If you ever watched it on any kind of channel that has animals and stuff like that, you'll see the predator chomp, and then the second, and I hate to use that, but once the animal is dead and stops squeaking, stops trying to get away, usually that predator drops it. So they won the game. They won that genetic is to chase and to survive and get their food. The animal stops, they stop, they drop it. And then obviously they're gonna have their breakfast or dinner. So once we have that, so he's got the prey object, the toy, and he's chasing it quickly, and he starts right away, and he bites it, and he wants to tug with you, and we're letting him win when he's got a good tug and a good bite. Then we're teaching him with this leash. We're not yanking him, we're not calling him to us. We just, you can praise him, of course, but what we want to do is at that point is just slowly teach him to come back to us. Whether you go up and down and you slowly bring in the leash in, or you're going around your body like that and he's carrying it, we ultimately want to bring him back and start again. So what we do is, without putting a lot of pressure on the dog, we're teaching him that once he wins, and again, we have to let him win, or dogs, especially like Gary, and there's a lot of pet dogs that are like that, they don't have that high drive for a toy. So we're trying to teach them that when you do win, you can't just do what you naturally would do, is take off with it and whatever, hunk it down over it or run with it. So the leash keeps them from doing that, and we're teaching them through conditioning, classical conditioning, over and over, that he comes back to us when he wins and we play again. So that may go on for a week or two. And how you'll know that is when you have that tug and you're holding it and you're playing with him and you let him win, you don't have to really use your leash because he comes right back to you. So what I'm doing, I'm not only using my leash when he wins to like have him carrying it and bringing him closer to me, but I might, come on, Gary, come on. I might be using not so much a come or a recall command, but just get him to come back to me so I'm not pulling on him. And then what happens, like I said, over reps, it might be another 10 sessions, you'll see that the minute you let him win, he's bringing it right back to you. And you just help him at the beginning of it, like backing up and coming, yeah, good boy. You can see how he just naturally comes. So once that rule 2 is set, then we have a dog that wants that object. Right away, he's trying to get it. He bites real good. He pulls real good for who he is. I mean, he may, like my last dog that just went home from an emotional support dog I had for 3 months in a board and train, he didn't have a hard bite. He didn't pull very hard. So I knew that I couldn't pull very hard, but he played. So he'd have a little bite, a little pull, boom, I let him win, bring it back. And then ultimately, after, I don't know how many sessions, like I said, they're only 2-minute sessions. And we did it because he's with me. We do it 2-3 times a day. So ultimately, he brought it right back to me. So we've taught him that 1, the game is with me and you. 2 is when you win, the game is with me and you. You don't take off with it. And then the 3rd rule is teaching him the out. And the way I teach the out is the way I learned through Michael Ellis. So the dog really is pulling. He's not listening to me. So we use our marker system, and remember the prey object. So if the wolf or the coyote has that rabbit, when it gives, there's no more movement, they normally just drop it, and they might catch their breath, and then they have dinner. And again, I apologize for being that blatant about it, but that's pretty much what a predator does with its prey once it's dead. So what we use is I get a good balance when he's pulling and he's trying to get the toy and get it away from me, because he's naturally, when he's pulling hard, I let it go. I just use my leg. I bring the object to my leg. I get a good base, and I just stop movement. I don't let him keep pulling the toy away. So that's where probably the most force you have to use to hold on to it. And I just keep saying out, out, And what you'll see is he'll get bored. It might take 10 seconds, 15 seconds, but he'll get bored, he'll drop it. And then the second, capture that, the second he releases it, not still chewing on it lightly or trying to get it, but he backs away, he opens his mouth, he releases the toy, and then he backs away. Then I'll say yes, I'll mark it, and I'll move back, and I'll present the tug so that one, or the toy, that he's not going to jump at me. So I'll pretty much bring it off to the side, give him a good space that he can bite, not your hands. I'll back away, so I'll say he drops it, I'll be saying ow, ow, I'm patient, I'm waiting, ow. And the second, I'll keep repeating out, the second he releases, I say yes, and I back away, I present the object, he bites again, play, 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 he might win, I'll let him win, go around in circles, brings it back, tug, 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 bring it back to my leg, ow, ow. Again, he opens his mouth, he releases it totally, he backs away, and backing away might be just bringing his head back, or it might be stepping back. I mean, you're not looking for him to like back away 10 feet. So the second that he releases that toy, I say yes, I mark it again, because I'm teaching him the out. I release, he releases, yes, mark it, again, bring it back. So if you're more confident here, again, I don't want to present it right here in the beginning. I want to present it away from my body. I want the toy to be straight, kind of straight with my body, right? So that he can see the object. He can easily bite it without biting my hand or jumping at my body. He bites it, we start again. So what we're doing is now we're just teaching him through, again, no conflict, no pressure, no corrections, no yelling. I'm just easily saying or gently saying, ow, ow, ow. He releases, yes, boom, and I let him go again. So now once and that might be another 2 weeks, it might be a week, but technically Gary's very smart, so we'll probably learn that very quick, that the out means drop it and he starts again. So we're teaching him with our markers, yes is the marker word, and then we're using the reinforcer to let him bite again. So instead of using food, we're over to the toy. And that's how I teach the out. So rule 1 is and that's where you spend the most time, is getting a dog to chase it and want it, and that special toy comes out, he knows it's playtime, he gets it, he bites it, he tugs with you. Rule 2 is when you've got that and you've gone a few more days with it, so it's conditioned that he really wants it, then I start teaching him that when he wins, I use my leash, and again, I'm not yanking him, I'm not correcting, and I'll just slowly, I usually just kind of bring my leash around and I help him to go in circles, and then I'm slowly reeling in the leash, and then I reach for the tug and I play again. And when we have that, rule 1's done. So we have him very highly desiring, he's got the prey drive, he wants to do it, he's biting, he's tugging. Then we're teaching him that the game is with me and you, not you taking off with the toy. So that might be another week or 2 depending, and you'll know it, so that when you do release it, he's not going to the end of the leash. He's like, come on Gary, come on, and he's coming right back to you. And then we teach the out. So we got 1 and 2 done, and then we go into the out. We're having a good tug session, and again, you're staying with 2-minute sessions for now. Use a timer on your phone. It's important. You don't want to go over it at this point, and you want to stay consistent, not going like a minute, 45 seconds or whatever. So then rule 3 is the out. And again, when he's got that good tug and he wants it, I get a base. You know, I'm right-handed, so my right foot's out, my left leg's back a little bit, maybe a foot, and I just use my leg to stop movement. And he's gonna keep, you know, he's gonna try to pull it and chomp on and bite it, and I'm just gently saying, ow, 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 and then we're teaching him the out when he does back up and release. And again, that's no conflict, that's no choking on the call or correction. He releases, I mark it, yes, I move back, I present the tug, boom. And I'll get maybe 4 or 5 of those each session. So we're teaching the out using our marker, using no conflict, no pressure. And when we have that done, then we can use the game of tug play for so many things, especially for Gary, where he's nervous around things or he's barking at things. We can use that game to counter condition what's kind of scary to him, where he barks, because his owners say he barks at people. I haven't seen it yet, but ultimately we use that game to slowly bring him closer to whatever the object is. And then what happens is, because he's in a drive state different than using food, it's so much easier to counter condition a dog to have a different behavior versus what he was doing that we don't want. And what are the things that happen when you have the game of tug or play with your dog? One, you build a better relationship with your dog. Your dog just loves that because we've taught him to love it if he doesn't have it. We teach a great out. We expend the energy that dogs need. So that 2-minute, and especially once we have that all done and we go up to a 3-minute, those 3-minute sessions are like walking a few miles with them. And you also get a good workout. So you have a better relationship, you have a great way of expending energy, and then we can have so much better obedience because, again, the dog's in a different drive state. They're in a higher level. They want to do those things quicker because they want this object. So how do we use it? Well, come on over here, Gary. Come on, buddy. So how do we use it? Remember, backtrack into the 3 reinforcers, the 3 T's. Treat/food, that's one. Toy, any toy. And again, once he understands those rules that we just talked about and teaching him how to play tug. And then 3 is touch or praise. And ultimately, instead of using the food, so if I say sit, we've been, yes, mark it, right? So he sat, we marked it, so he knows he did right, and then we kind of give him his treat. Or we say, Gary, come, he comes to us, we give him a treat. What we do now, instead of the treat, we're using the toy. So to get there, though, we have to follow those steps, and it's a process. It doesn't happen in 2 weeks. It might not happen in 6 weeks. The biggest thing I can tell you is that any dog can be taught to play this. And if you're willing to put in the work, you're going to have such a better relationship with, you're going to have a better relationship with your dog. You're going to have a dog that wants to learn. So when I say sit, it's not like he doesn't listen. I say no, and then I'm using leash pressure and stuff. Or if he doesn't come, I'm using leash pressure. He's going to want it. So, you know, I can't impress upon you or say enough how important the game of play is with your dog. There's so many variables to get there, but it's really when you follow those rules and you follow the techniques, it's really not hard. It's just time and commitment to wanting to do that. So I would start that in my house for the first few days, where again, in an area he's comfortable with. Obviously, be aware of your surroundings. I'd hate to hear you get back to me, oh, I tripped and fell and hit my head. You know, be aware, have a room that's big enough. Once he's comfortable and you got a dog really wanting it, then go outside. Go someplace where he's still comfortable outside. And then ultimately, just like our training with food, if we're teaching things where we have to work with distractions, you want to slowly, and again, you want to have this all set up first, but then you want to slowly start, instead of you've gone out to your backyard, now you've moved to a different area of your backyard. Again, think of it, there's different scents, sounds, there's different things that are happening. We call those distractions. So it's important, again, to set those rules first, where we've conditioned them to understand how to play, and then you slowly introduce them to those things. So when you say, Gary, come, he's like running, because you see him turn around, and then we're playing, boom, boom, boom. And instead of him wanting to stay there to smell or not come, he's going to want to come right away. And then when I have that down, again, a dog learns in little pictures. So I want to make sure he's comfortable in different areas of my yard. And then I might go out to the front of my yard for a couple of days, and then I'll start taking it wherever I go. So if I'm going to go to a schoolyard where there's a lot of people and maybe box, I want to go to a field first where there's really nobody. So I've gotten out of his comfort zone, but I've gone to a place where there's not kids all over the place. And then I'll slowly go to maybe a ball field where there's not a lot of people. It's not a time where they're playing football or baseball. Maybe there's only a couple people with other dogs. And again, when we go someplace new, remember, your dog more than likely isn't going to be so comfortable. So you may have to work more to get him to want to play with you. But once he's playing, now his mind's on playing with you, because we've conditioned him to that weeks prior and all the work we put in. So instead of him wanting to bark at people, we got play. You know, I can do a sit, a heel, a come, you know, and again, 2-minute sessions, and then go about walking your dog. That's pretty much it. So hopefully this video on how to play tug with your dog and how I teach a dog to go from 0 to 10, especially with Gary, you know, and again, like Thor I had before, they didn't have that natural drive to want a toy. Like some dogs are born with that genetic predisposition. So you got to work a little harder. But as you see, Gary, yeah, so by me moving away and always moving it away from him, he wants to chase it. The issue is doing it enough times, having a preset time period, so you're not overwhelming, trying to end on a positive note, so it's always on success, instead of him like, once you do a couple, you realize that maybe he doesn't have enough time to do 2 minutes. So if he's like a minute and 45 seconds already starting to quit, then try to end that game on a success. So he gets it, he wins, and you pretty much bring him around and end the game. He's going to drop the tug more than likely when you stop and you're not pulling. So again, that's the way we start teaching a dog, and that's how we start bringing tug play or toy play out to the natural world, where the things that bother him right now aren't so hard for him. Hopefully that helps. If you have any questions, send me a message. If you want me to email you back, leave your email. Hopefully that helps. And again, Doug from Doug's Dog Training, Faven, Mass. Thank you.